Welcome to Lions Live.
Where you get your trusted local and campus news.
I'm Hannah Campbell.
And I'm Harold Lewis Jr. The coronavirus has now claimed the lives of 2,663 people in mainland China. There are 77,000 cases reported. There have been 14 confirmed cases in the United States.
The University of North Alabama has announced a new partnership with Cypress Creek Indoor Range. This partnership will benefit UNA students, faculty, and staff, as well as Cypress Creek employees. The university will offer a tuition discount to Cypress Creek employers who wish to pursue a degree at UNA. The partnership will allow students who are pursuing a degree in criminal justice at UNA to build the skills they will need when entering the workforce. Cypress Creek Indoor Range focuses heavily on safety. Co-owner of the indoor range, Keith Collier, says everybody we start with, whether they are new to the guns or have had guns all their life, we start with safety. The indoor range begins their training on how to safely handle firearms, putting them away properly, as well as using them in safe and a proper way.
Alabama lawmakers have drafted a new bill that would mandate a 15-week summer break for schools. Summer break would begin on Memorial Day and extend until Labor Day for all Alabama schools. The bill is still in its early stages. As of right now, the bill has not been introduced to legislation. It's being met with concern among teachers and staff. Parents are also worried that longer days would be enforced to make up for time missed. Other breaks would be shortened during the year, possibly. Representative Steve Hurst says that extending the school day less than 30 minutes a day would be enough to make up time. There have been mixed reviews among teachers within the Birmingham Teachers Union. However, they will be continuing to learn more about the bill, how it would affect the school system in the long run.
14-year-old Rashawn Weaver has been charged in the death of a Bernard College student in New York City. 18-year-old Tess Majors was killed in a Manhattan park in December of 2019. Weaver is the second person to be charged in the murder of Majors and is facing murder and robbery charges. New York City Police Commissioner Dermont Shea says we are confident that we have the person that stabbed her. But Weaver's attorney, Elise Chandler, says he is a 14-year-old child and is presumed not guilty. According to officials, they have evidence that links Weaver to the crime, including video footage, witness identification, and DNA from Majors' fingernail clippings. A 13-year-old was arrested 2 days after the murder of Majors. He was charged as a juvenile with felony murder, but told detectives that he was not the one who stabbed Majors. District Attorney Vance says that his office and police are in active investigation in terms of other suspects, and that will continue.
A student at the University of North Alabama has recently opened up a new business perfectly crafted for songwriters in the Shoals. Cassidy Beck sat down with Lillian Glanton, and she gave us an inside look at the new Muscle Shoals Song Rooms.
Located on Jackson Highway in Sheffield, the Muscle Shoals Song Rooms is a new creative hub for local singer and songwriters.
A lot of people ask me, how in the world did this place even start out? How was it born? I started a music festival last October, and I was able to bring over 100 songwriters to the Shoals area. It was called the Muscle Shoals Songwriters Festival. I thought to myself, we need to have somewhere here in the Shoals area where just our local songwriting community can have a creative hub to go to. And so the Muscle Shoals Song Rooms was born. So I tell people that the Muscle Shoals Song Rooms is like a gym membership for songwriters. Songwriters pay a monthly or yearly fee online, and they get access to our online appointment calendar. From there, they can choose a date, a time, and a room that works best for their schedule. Coffee and snacks are also provided during your writing session, as well as free admission to songwriter workshops, pitch to publisher nights, and VIP access to the Muscle Shoals Songwriters Festival. My favorite thing that I've witnessed so far about the Muscle Shoals Song Rooms is walking in here on a regular Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. and every single room is filled and people are making music on Jackson Highway once again. That has just been a whirlwind of emotions for me, but not only that, The fact that our songwriter community has a place to go to meet other people who are doing like-minded things as them and making music here in the Shoals, that's what it's all about. There is nowhere in the entire world like Muscle Shoals, Alabama. You can research all of these small towns and none of them will compare to the music history that we have here in the Shoals. I'm a singer-songwriter myself, and every time I would go to Nashville, people were like, "What's going on in the Shoals? We got to come down to Muscle Shoals and write songs." So it was kind of funny how they were wanting to come here. You know, it's just a special little town. It's got so much character and charm, and the music here is so incredible.
Reporting in Sheffield for Lions Live News, I'm Cassidy Beck.
Michael Avenatti, who represented Stormy Daniels in lawsuits against President Donald Trump, has been convicted of trying to extort Nike. The verdict was reached after a 3-week trial by a federal jury in Manhattan. Prosecutors said that Avenatti threatened Nike that he would use his media access to hurt the sportswear giant's reputation and stock unless Nike agreed to pay him $25 million. The convictions of this kind of crime is punishable up to 40 years in prison. Avenatti's lawyer, Scott Strebeck, says that he has plans to appeal the court's ruling, and the judge has set the sentencing for June of 2020.
On February 24th, former Hollywood film producer Harvey Weinstein was found guilty on 2 of 5 sexual assault charges by a Manhattan jury. Weinstein could face as many as 25 years in prison. The trial was a result of allegations made in October of 2017 when the New York Times published a story detailing sexual harassment allegations that were brought forth by women, including actresses Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd.
The University of North Alabama Cinematic Arts Theater will present A Doll's House, Part 2 by Lucas Harth at the George S. Lindsay Theater. Showings will be held February 26th through the 29th at 7:30 p.m., as well as February 29th and March 1st at 2 p.m. Tickets are $5 for students, faculty, staff, and alumni, and $15 for adults. On February 4th, 4 student media journalists traveled to Montgomery to cover the opening of the legislative session. One of the biggest topics was a proposed state lottery. Here are more details. Today is the first day of the legislative session where several leaders are meeting to talk about big topics like health care, prison reform, and taxes. One of the biggest topics, the state lottery, something that could potentially fund Alabama schools substantially.
You're going to see legislation introduced on gambling, lottery. We had it last session. It passed the Senate and failed in the House. So the controversy there was, is the money going to the education budget or is the income revenue going to the general fund budget? So that's got to be worked out.
I was really pleased and surprised that Governor Ivey addressed the gambling issue because it's here and we're one of the few states that don't get any revenue from it, and I think she realizes that Alabamians are wanting a right to vote on whether they have a lottery or electronic bingo or whatever. But she's wise to get a study commission together to see exactly how much money you can raise from these sources.
Senator Wagner says that funding all depends on if revenue is placed in the general fund, education fund, or a split between both, but could benefit underfunded schools like the University of North Alabama. If we were to have the lottery and it went towards the education fund, like realistically, how much do you think that would help funding education?
Oh, a good bit. Yeah, there's substantial revenue that would come from a lottery. Mm-hmm. All of the people in Alabama that are going to Georgia or Mississippi or Tennessee or Florida, you know, that money would stay here. In dollars and cents, I couldn't tell you how much. It would depend on the divide between the general fund and the education budget. If there is a divide, you know, we could give it all to education and it would be substantial.
Hannah Campbell in Montgomery, University of North Alabama.
And now here's Meredith with sports.
UNA softball had a busy and successful weekend. They traveled to Montgomery for the Alabama State Stinger Classic. On Friday, they played Howard University, defeating the Bison 4-0. On Saturday, the Lions played 2 games. They won the first game against Howard 10-2 and the second game against Murray State 7-0. Harley Stokes had a strong game, finishing with a home run and 5 RBIs. The Lions also shut out Murray State on Sunday with a big 6-0 win to wrap up the weekend. The next game is scheduled for Tuesday, February 25th at Ole Miss. UNA women's basketball recently secured their spot in the ASUN Conference Tournament. The Lions will host a conference game at home on Saturday, March 7th. The women's current record is 17-8 overall and 8-5 in the conference. Senior night is scheduled for Monday, March 2nd at 6 p.m. The 5 senior starters will be recognized during halftime of their last regular season home game in Flowers Hall. UNA baseball is back. The Lions opened their season at home with a weekend series against Ohio University. Through 4 games, the Lions were 1-3 against the Bobcats. This past weekend, they traveled to Northwestern State in Louisiana for another 4-game series against the Demons. The Lions lost a tough 4 straight games to wrap up the weekend. And after the first 2 weeks of the season, the Lions are 1-7 overall. They will play the Belmont Bruins and the Little Rock Trojans later this week. UNA will also play several major schools this season, including the University of Alabama, the University of Louisville, and Ole Miss. And that's a wrap for the UNA Sports. I'm Meredith Daniel.
After the collapse of the Harrison Plaza fountain on December 18th, authorities at UNA have informed the public that the fountain will come back as early as July. Assistant Vice President for Facilities, Michael Gautney, mentioned that the fountain had some deterioration due to age and weathering. Gautney said that looking to replace the whole fountain instead of reconstructing the old one is the way to go. The insurance value for the fountain is more than $500,000, and UNA is looking to hire a new fountain architect.
After a series of femicides in Mexico, several organizations and activists against gender violence are calling for a national strike on March 9th. The strike goes under the hashtag A Day Without Women, where all women and children in Mexico won't be attending their work or school. Experts in Mexico said that if every woman in the country stopped working for a day, Mexican economy could lose more than $1 million. A select group of students from UNA made history recently by being the first from the school's communications department to attend the opening of the legislative session and State of the State address. The communications students attending the event represented advanced media production and the university student publication, The Florala. Here's that story now.
Production students representing the University of North Alabama's Communications Department and the UNA publication, The Florala, traveled to Montgomery on Tuesday for the opening of the 2020 legislative session and the governor's State of the State address.
Today is the first day of the legislative session where several legislators...
The student journalists toured the State House and spoke with legislators to get their thoughts on some of the upcoming issues of this session before they attended the governor's address later that evening.
Because of our economy, unemployment is less than 3% in Alabama. People are working.
An abortion on themselves. The law that was passed last year, it's a pro-life.
The media team questioned numerous legislators and covered a variety of current topics that will be discussed during the 2020 session.
In Decatur is the hot topic. What is being dumped into our water?
Reporting from the state capitol for UNA News, I'm Harold Lewis Jr. Italian Fashion Week just ended and the fashion house Armani didn't open its doors for a traditional runway. On February 23rd, Armani live-streamed its Autumn-Winter 2020 runway. The company said that they opted for this option as a result of the coronavirus outbreak in Italy, and it was meant to support national efforts in safeguarding public health.
Thank you for tuning in to Lions Live,
Where it's always a great day at UNA.